One Tavi from the Weather SpongeBob. Today is April 20th, 2021, and today we're obviously going to focus on the major United States snowstorm that's going to happen very, very soon. And we're also going to talk about the next potential severe weather threat that could impact the southeast into next week. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. So let's begin by taking a look at the current radar right now. So I'm recording this right around 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as you can see right now, there's a lot of snow showers extending through Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Colorado. However, by the time you're watching this video, I'd say right around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this snow swath should be a little bit further to the east, and it will impact more of Illinois. As we take a look at the futurecast radar, you see that area of snow continues to move east, and by around 6:30, it's well over Kansas City at this point. The heaviest of snow is just towards the east of Topeka. So this is moving at a relatively fast speed and will eventually reach Illinois right around 1 p.m. I'd say. Taking a look at the future, even further into the future, you see by around 1 p.m. While this futurecast radar shows a large area of rain showers, I do expect there to be the snow area to be more larger than this, to impact a larger area of Illinois. So keep that in mind, that you're still expected to receive snowfall accumulation throughout Illinois and Wisconsin, even though the futurecast radar might say otherwise. The futurecast radar is somewhat inaccurate of the exact temperatures and the exact precipitation rate, so we have to definitely keep that in mind when it comes to the futurecast radar, since the temperatures will be cold enough for snow and accumulation throughout the Mississippi River Valley. So keep that in mind. So taking a look at the radar, you see that there's pretty much an extending band of snow. It's pretty much extending along this low pressure system. There's a big dip in jet stream currently right behind this trough. There are strong northwesterly winds bringing that cold air further southward, and it's going to create an area of unstable air, especially once this trough moves closer and closer to the east coast, where the east coast right now is going to experience well above average temperatures, where in my area for New Jersey today, it's going to be 73 degrees, which is about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year, as we're seeing strong prevailing southwesterly winds come into the northeast, and it's bringing a lot of that very warm air further northward. And once this cold air interacts with that warm air, where there's going to be just enough unstable air to enhance the snowfall risk throughout the Midwest, especially the Great Lakes, impacting the major cities such as Detroit and Cleveland. So we need to keep that in mind. And it'll also bring a lot of snow to the extreme interior portions of the Northeast. And another thing that I'd like to point out with this trough also is that we could also see strong winds associated with this. Taking a look at the GFS radar right now, you're going to see that just taking a look at the 540 millibar contour line, which is pretty much a representation of where that freezing line is, or the line that pretty much separates freezing temperatures from non-freezing temperatures. And you see that 540 millibar contour line dips very far southward into the Midwest, and eventually as this dip moves further eastward, it's going to interact with the very warm air that's located in the eastern half of the United States as a result of this ridge that's bringing a lot of southwesterly winds further northward. And as a result, we're going to see just enough unstable air to enhance the snowfall risk, where we do see a low pressure system evidently develop as a result of this unstable air, and we do see the stronger snow squalls form throughout upstate New York and into Ohio. So we need to keep a close eye on this. It's pretty much certain that you guys throughout the Midwest will experience a major snowstorm from this, and a lot of the interior Northeast as well, because this storm does become quite formidable at one point at around 994 millibars. And for the most part, the European model has been agreeing with the GFS's model run, where it does strengthen it at quite at quite a gradual rate to a point where it becomes quite a formidable and even very potent low pressure system at one point where we do see that low pressure system dip down to the 970 millibar range, which is equivalent to nearly a category 3 hurricane. So it does get quite strong. So the European model is lenient on really strengthening the low pressure system, but the good news is that by the time it goes down to 970 millibars, the storm will mainly be out of most of the United States outside of maybe the extreme northern portions of Maine. So the United States, so Northeast might not get the full force of what this storm has to offer, but for the most part, the interior Northeast could still receive over a foot of snow. So you need to keep that in mind. There will also obviously be strong winds associated with this low pressure system, because when we see a low pressure system this strong, it pretty much encourages just very strong winds because the external air pressure around the low pressure system is trying to filter into that very low pressure. And as it does so, that creates the wind. And when we're talking about a pressure as low as 970 millibars, it's pretty much just asking for a very strong and widespread wind event. So expect stronger and gusty winds right around the Friday time frame for a lot of the Northeast, Thursday into Friday. And another thing I'd like to point out is that on the southern side of this storm, while New York City and Boston and obviously a lot of the Interstate 95 corridor cities will miss out on the snow. There's going to be primarily a rain event for you guys. There's still some of these rain showers could induce some severe thunder. Well, I wouldn't say severe, but some potent thunderstorms, which could have some strong wind gusts associated with it, thanks to the amount of unstable air that's going to be located in the Northeast. Because, like I said before, right behind the low pressure system, we're talking about temperatures in the 30s and the 20s. But today in the Northeast, we're experiencing temperatures in the 70s. And once those two temperatures converge, that pretty much creates very unstable air, and that will encourage strong winds associated with some of these thunderstorms on the southern side of the storm. So we need to keep a close eye on that. Taking a look at the wind, you're going to see that this low pressure system will bring a lot of wind associated with it. If we move forward, you see that there's already a decent amount of wind, but you see that eventually the wind gets very strong. It's impacting a lot of the Northeast, and it's bringing very strong winds overall and wind gusts associated with it. And even further back, you see that on the southern side of this storm, where all thunderstorm activity will be located, there's going to be a lot of thunderstorm activity, and a lot of these thunderstorms will have the threat of damaging winds. So you need to keep that in mind if you're on the southern side of this storm. So definitely pay close attention to that. In terms of how much snowfall you should expect based off what the GFS and the European model is forecasting, it's going to be quite a major snowstorm for some of the bigger cities in and around the Northeast and the Midwest, because you see that a lot of the Midwest, based off what the GFS model is saying, is forecasting snow. Is forecasting a decent amount of snow through Missouri and Kansas, where they're expecting right around 1-3 inches, which isn't a ton of snow. Those states clearly have experienced far worse snowstorms in the winter, but it is still enough to at least maybe cause some trouble on the roads, and to at least bring awareness that the roads could be slippery right around the Wednesday time frame. Well, pretty much today, where a lot of you guys are already experiencing snow throughout Missouri and Kansas. But you see, as we move further and further into the Northeast, as the storm continues to strengthen, we also see the snow totals also increase, where we do see an area of 6 to 12 inches right around the heart of Cleveland. So this will be considered a major snowstorm for you guys. Even if you only get around the lower end of 6 inches, that's still enough to cause some havoc on the roads. That's still enough to the point where you need to shovel out the snow out of your driveway, because your car cannot drive through 6 inches of snow. So you need to keep a close eye on this in Cleveland, as it will primarily be a concern for you guys right around the very right around the Wednesday time frame, very early on the morning of Wednesday, and it should end right around Wednesday afternoon. But for a lot of Tuesday night and into Wednesday, this should be the worst for you guys in Cleveland. So keep that in mind, and even extending to other cities such as Detroit might get a little bit involved. They're just outside of the worst of the snowfall, but still they're involved in around 1 to 3 inches of snow. And Indianapolis could get close to 6 inches of snow. You need to keep a close eye on that. Columbus, Ohio is very well in it as well. So just a lot to keep in mind throughout, just a lot to stay to at least be aware of when it comes to snowfall throughout the Ohio River Valley, because even if it's only 1 to 3 inches for most of you guys throughout the Midwest, you at least still want to be prepared for 1 to 3 inches of snow, because they could certainly create slick road conditions. And even further to northeast of that, the snow totals become worse, but where Buffalo is experiencing close to a foot of snow, based off of what the GFS model is forecasting. The Adirondacks is well over a foot of snow forecasted at this point, and you see that a lot of northwestern Maine and northern portions of Vermont and New Hampshire are just getting pounded by just very heavy snow from this storm. So it's definitely so you guys need to prepare as if this is a major snowstorm. Same goes for the European model, where it's forecasting just a lot of snow throughout the Northeast and the Ohio River Valley, where if you take a look at the European model, you're going to see that there's just going to be a lot of snow extending throughout a large area of the Northeast and the Midwest, where we do see areas of over 6 inches and areas close to or over a foot at times. And even portions of Maine are getting close to a 20-inch category. So this is expected to be a major snowstorm for a lot of you guys in the Northeast and the Ohio River Valley. So keep a close eye on that in terms of the exact timing of when you should expect the impact. Like I said, Cleveland, Ohio should expect the snow conditions to deteriorate right around very late on Tuesday, later today, and into very early in the morning on Wednesday, before ending right around noontime on Wednesday. And for Buffalo, this conditions should begin to deteriorate right around the very early morning hours of Wednesday, and this should extend pretty much all day until right around Wednesday afternoon, when the snow showers move just to the north of you guys. And you see Indianapolis, it should primarily be a threat for you guys right around Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night, and it should end very early on Wednesday. So that's and obviously for a lot of Missouri, Illinois, later today and into the afternoon, you should experience the majority of the snowfall. But most of the snowfall will be falling will fall right around the Northeast and and right around Cleveland, Ohio. So keep that in mind. But other than the snowstorm, like I said, we also need to keep track of the potential strong winds associated with some of these thunderstorms and heavy rain threat throughout just south of this storm, where if we take a look at the current storm prediction, the severe storm prediction, while there isn't a ton while there's a very slight chance of severe weather throughout the Northeast, there's at least a marginal risk which extends to New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., the Delmarva Peninsula, and Virginia Beach. So there's still certainly, and while a lot of these thunderstorms may not be severe, they still could produce wind gusts of over 40 miles per hour. So you need to keep that in mind, and could bring bursts of heavy thunderstorms or thunder showers. So you need to keep that in mind if you're in the Northeast. But if we take a look at the convective available potential energy for tomorrow, while there isn't going to be a ton in the Northeast, so it's going to be just enough for maybe some severe weather or a very marginal risk of severe weather in the Northeast, like the National Weather Service is forecasting. So I'm taking a look at the GFS model, taking a look at the surface-based convective available potential energy. You're going to see that there's going to be just enough in the Northeast to maybe induce some severe weather, but the risk is still mainly light at this point, as My main concern, I'd say, is more towards southeast, where later next week we could see our next big severe weather threat based off of the amount of convective available potential energy that's currently forecasted for a lot of the northeast, the southeast, which is pretty much asking for a very strong severe weather threat. I apologize for the lag, but I will show you that there's just going to be a lot of convective available potential energy in the southeast headed into next week, where if we move forward right around the 96-hour mark, you see the convective potential energy moves throughout the southeast or the surface-based cape, and that's going to induce a lot of lift in the atmosphere, and that lift will create very severe weather for the southeast. So we need to keep a close eye on it. It really all depends on jet stream dip, where the troughs position itself. We need to keep a close eye on that. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. Make sure to prepare if you're in the northeast Midwest for a major snowstorm, and also at least stay aware of the possibility that we could see our next major severe weather in the southeast. As thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content, and I hope you guys have a good day.